In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the games that I picked up in the month of January all the way to the end of February. And in this one, we have a bit, but not quite as much as the last episode, thank God. So anyways, without further ado, welcome to the C's Arcade.
Get ready.
First off, I picked up this 8-bit DOE wireless Super Nintendo controller. Now, I never bought from this company before, at least I don't remember buying from this company. I usually go with Retrobit and their wireless 2.4 gigahertz controllers for the Sega Genesis, the Sega Saturn. I love them. I wish they would make a Dreamcast one, and I know they're probably doing it, but they haven't released it yet. And this one is like the closest you're gonna get in terms of the form factor for an original Super Nintendo controller. And now that I have a Super Nintendo hooked up through RGB in my main setup, I'm focusing more on that system moving forward. So I picked this one up, and I just want to eliminate wires moving forward. And this one is really nicely done. The form factor is like perfect. Absolutely perfect. It feels exactly like the Super Nintendo controller that we all know and love. And it was only like $29.99. The Figma Metroid Dread Samus Aran action figure, and this is a beautiful box. I love how it actually has like a slipcover to it. It's very premium feeling, and I love the Figma line, but I've kind of stepped away from it because I prefer not to buy figures anymore. But this one, I couldn't resist, and I'm glad I pre-ordered it when it came up because it's been sold out since. So check this out. Like, look at this. Isn't this insanely, incredibly amazing looking? I mean, look, all the promotional shots on the back. This is gonna be a figure that I do review on this channel at some point. Any video game related figures moving forward will be covered on this channel. You've probably already seen the rollout of that with the Figma Kirby 30th anniversary that I picked up. Yeah, so that review should be on the channel at this point in time. So now that that's out of the way, let's move on to the actual games. So first, I want to give a shout out to Knick Knack Anime when it comes to the games. And this guy has been following me for quite a while. He's a good friend of the channel, and he decided to reach out to me and tell me about a few games that he wanted to offload and donate to the C's Arcade. And I don't usually like ask for anybody to donate anything to the channel, whether it be money or video games or anything like that. No, I'm good. You know what I mean? But if anybody's willing to send any games my way, I'm not going to turn them down. Alright, so let's just leave it at that. I'll gladly pay the shipping or whatever, but he was like, no, it's cool. I just want to send these to you. Thank you again, Nick. I really do appreciate you. So, the games he sent me were 4 Super Nintendo games. We have Monopoly, Star Fox, Battle Clash, and this is a game that actually requires the Super Scope, which is something I unfortunately don't have, so I'm not able to play it. But I do plan on getting a Super Scope at some point in the future, just to check it out and whatever other games supported it. He sent me a complete in-box copy of Frogger on the Super Nintendo. Complete in a protected plastic case. This is wild. I don't usually own any complete in-box Super Nintendo games. The only other one I have is Primal Rage. So the fact that I have this complete in its box is pretty sweet, and the box is in really good shape too. So hey, that's awesome. I'm going to get myself a Frogger figure and display him happily with this. So thank you again, Nick Soriano. I really do appreciate you for reaching out to me and sending me these. So thanks again. So for the rest of the pickups in today's video, I want to kind of work my way backwards in terms of generations because I like ending things off with cartridges. So that's what I'm going to do. First off, from Video Games Plus. This is a company that specializes in a lot of reprints for games that are becoming rare and hard to obtain from the actual publishers. And they're a great company. They're Canadian based, but they do ship to the US, and their shipping was on point. I mean, this was here within like a couple of days when I ordered it. And I couldn't pass this up. It was 2 games that I've been looking at for the longest time and I never got around to getting, but they were on sale and I had to pick them up. So first off is Pocky and Rocky Reshrined Edition. This is a top-down classic shooter, And this is a very tough game. From what I played, I was like, wow, this game is kicking my ass. But it's really nicely done. It's got beautiful pixel graphics. It really is reminiscent of the earlier Super Nintendo versions, and I really do wish they would release like a collection of the original 2 games. But what you have here is fantastic, and I can't recommend this enough. And secondly, we have Soul Hackers 2 for the PS5. I saw this for the longest time and I was like, this looks really cool. I like the Atlas art design and how the characters look, especially the main character here and her twin or sister. So I've always wanted to check it out, and now I have it on the PlayStation 5. I paid only 11 bucks for this. Moving on, we have Destiny 2 Forsaken, the Legendary Collection. Claimed this for only 3 bucks, so I'm not too mad. I thought this game had all the DLC on the disc. Boy was I wrong. I probably should have did some research, but unfortunately it's all on a DLC slip that comes in the case. That's yeah, it's since expired, so now I have 2 copies of Destiny 2 without any of the DLC. Next up, we have Until Dawn. Heard a lot of great things about this game in particular, in terms of it being such a classic style 80s horror flick, you know, in video game form. Now I heard that this game is suddenly getting a remake on the PS5, and it's just like, what the hell is Sony even doing anymore? PS4 games do not need a remake on the PS5. They don't! Stop it! Make new games! Next up, we have a game that I already have on the Xbox One, but I decided to pick it up on the PS4 because I had credit with Cali Claims, and it was like 12 bucks. It has an upgrade on the PS5, so that's always good, and I'm definitely going to replay it on the PS5 with a smoother frame rate, better looking graphics, some ray tracing, or whatever the hell the bells and whistles the upgrade has. But I love the Resident Evil 2 remake. It was fantastic, and since I just finished Resident Evil 4, my first game finished of 2024, I want to get back into Resident Evil 2. Next up, we have a couple of sealed games. One is on the Wii U, and I never got this when I claimed Star Fox Zero years ago, and it's Star Fox Guard. Now, I heard a lot of great things about this game, even though it's kind of like a spin-off that they threw in for free with Star Fox Zero. But it's factory sealed. I'm not sure if I'll have the heart to like crack the seal on this. Probably will at some point just to play it. It was only like $3 or something. And next, this one was only $5. Claimed it from Professor Raichu. I couldn't resist. This is a game that's become such a meme with me and my friends, and I just couldn't resist. It's Fable the Journey, and if anybody remembers Peter Molyneux during the Xbox 360 era and how he wouldn't shut up about this game and how it was going to be like a revolutionary experience. Ooh. Like, bro, just stop. We all know you hype up your games so much and they ended up being nothing close to what you envisioned. But I do love the Fable series. I really did like the original game and its sequel. I didn't play through part 3. I should probably do that. And Fable the Journey is only a Connect game. I have a Connect in storage somewhere. I don't plan on taking it out for this one. It's factory sealed. Look at that. I'm keeping it in there. Moving on, we got some 360. To this day, I still say it's the best console Microsoft ever made. And yeah, sadly, it's they're nowhere near that level anymore. So let's start. We got Turok on the Xbox 360. Now, I needed this to complete my Turok collection, and now I finally have it. I remember back when it first came out, I definitely played through it and enjoyed it. However, looking back on it in hindsight, it was weak. I hate how they try to do the whole Aliens, Gears of War, Space Marine style, and it's like, no, don't do that. Give me my classic Turok Native American badass. Give me Talset. Give me Jonathan Fireseed. I don't like this Mohawk weirdo Unreal Engine 3 looking ass guy. And overall, the dinosaurs did look cool, but in hindsight, it killed the franchise. Next up, we got Dead Rising 2 off the record. Now I have this digitally on the PS4. Runs great on there, but I wanted to have it physically. Frank West in the events of Dead Rising 2 with some alterations here and there. I believe it's non-canon at this point, but still, to me, this is how I would have probably preferred to play Dead Rising 2. Next up, we have Fear 3, another first-person shooter on the Xbox 360. This was one of the ones that I was missing, and I just need the original Fear to complete my Fear collection. Naruto. Rise of the Ninja on the Xbox 360. This is the game that got me into Naruto hardcore, like seriously. Like I remember being exposed to Naruto when I went to my first anime convention, and Naruto was just picking up steam. It was around 2005, I think, 2004. It was a very early anime next, let's just leave it at that. I went in there dressed up as a bootleg Darth Vader and I had such a great time. My first anime convention, and it wouldn't have been my last. But I never really paid attention to Naruto until this game came out, and once I did, the music in this game was taken straight from the show. What a fantastic game. In hindsight, I graduated and enjoyed the Ninja Storm series a lot more, but this game, it got me into Naruto, man. And I feel that it did the same for a lot of people. And if you didn't watch Naruto during its heyday, then you missed out on a great anime. Now, I've since been burned out of Naruto. I want nothing to do with Boruto or Burrito. The graphics were beautiful. I still gotta pick up its sequel, The Broken Bond. But this game, man, it's special to me. This one and its sequel have gone up in price since, so I'm happy to finally re-add this one to my collection and relive the memories of looking for episodes on YouTube and watching them in parts before they get taken down. Oh man, that was a time. You had to be there. You just had to be here. It was an experience. Splinter Cell Double Agent. Now this one, I know a lot of people feel that the 360 version was better, but the Xbox version was actually kind of different and also had a different co-op mode. So it's worth owning both because of the differences. Yeah, original Spider-Man. Pick this one up on the Xbox because it has an exclusive battle in here, I think with Vulture. Yeah, I believe Shocker and Kraven the Hunter were like exclusive to this version, and that's why I decided to pick it up. I still remember when this game came out. I still remember seeing it in theaters with my brother-in-law and sister. Man, the Sam Raimi trilogy of Spider-Man movies were great for their time. Looking back on them now, they're kind of corny, but... And I love Tobey Maguire. That guy is my Spider-Man to this day, and will always be my Spider-Man. Okay, we got two PS2 games here. One I got on eBay, one was in a claim sale. Grand Theft Auto Vice City. But of the original trilogy, this one was my favorite. I really did love the intro, the music choices for the soundtrack in this game. Definitive, man. I have it on the Xbox, but I don't have it complete. But I wanted to own the original on the PS2 because it means a lot to me. It was a fantastic game, and I love it to this day. Hell, it even comes with the sexy map of the bikini lady on it from the cover art. So yeah. Okay, we got some PlayStation 1 bangers here and one Dreamcast game. So let's go through the Dreamcast game real fast. The Dreamcast game that I picked up, got it off eBay for only like 15 bucks. Vanishing Point. Now, I didn't know about this game until I randomly stumbled upon it at some point, and it's basically a racing game, a driving game, and I do like the physics in it, although this game is pretty damn tough. As you can see here, the graphics are some of the early 6th generation greatness that we were graced with the Dreamcast, and it looks great in 480p, and it plays well, but like I said, it's a tough game, so not bad either. For that price. 007 The World Is Not Enough. Now I have this on the N64, but the PlayStation 1 version was developed by a different team and it's completely different. Completely different. From what I played so far, it crashed on me. So we have a game I remember us renting back in the days, and I didn't quite get it at the time, but I get it now. It's Star Wars Dark Forces. This is kind of very atmospheric first-person shooter where you play as Kyle Katarn, who ended up being a pivotal character in the Jedi Academy and Jedi Knight games moving forward. But this was kind of like the first game in that series, and I really did enjoy it. It's first-person shooter. It's kind of running like on a Doom engine style game, and it like I said, it's kind of dark, but it's also awesome. Medal of Honor Underground. It's great seeing just where the series started on the PlayStation 1. And how much heart that the developers put into these games. I believe Steven Spielberg was like a part of this. I could be wrong, but no, I do believe that Steven Spielberg wanted to make a video game. And he was like, I want to make a war game. And that's where Medal of Honor came from. So there was one on the PS1, and this was the second one, I believe, Medal of Honor Underground. So I have this now. It's got that early 5th generation first person shooter. Oh man, it's It's so good. I love that pixelated graphical style and the warping polygons on the PS1. So good. Hiffy Gold, man. I don't claim from him often. He doesn't do claim sales often, but when he does, he always has the gold. So I saw this, and I know this is popular with a certain YouTuber's buddy, Brady, Captain Amiibo, and I was like, you know what? I want to check this out. It's a 2D platformer that originally was supposed to come out on the Super Nintendo, but ended up coming out on the PS1, and that is Punky Skunk. I know what you're thinking. What the hell is Punky Skunk? Well, you're looking at it. Check out the gameplay. It's a 2D side-scroller platformer where you play as a skunk. And it's absolutely adorable. It's developed by Jaleco. It's so cool. I absolutely had to pick it up, and I'm glad I did for the price that I did. So yeah, Punky Skunk is now a part of the C's Arcade. Next up, we have Spy Hunter on the 3DS. The cover art is in bad shape. You can tell it was water damaged, but it was really cheap. It was only like $5, so I decided to pick it up. Why not? I am blown away by this. At first, I thought it was a top-down view kind of game. Much to my surprise, this is more akin to the 6th generation of Spy Hunter games that I actually really do love. And this one is surprisingly really good, especially looking on the 3DS. It looks fantastic. And I couldn't think of a perfect way to segue into the NES games than with another Spy Hunter game. The original Spy Hunter on the NES. And I believe this is kind of like a port of an arcade game. It's a classic Spy Hunter game. I really did enjoy the ones on the 6th generation, so I wanted to see where the game started. And I can see it's a tough ass game. This game will whoop you really hard. And it's whooping me. But I like it, and I have it now. For the N64, Namco Museum 64. Next up, we have a game called Gyrus. This was a Konami game under the Ultra umbrella, and we have a couple more of those. But this is a very interesting, like kind of like a shooter, but you're on a circle pattern. It's like you rotate around and you have to shoot things coming towards the screen. I mean, it looks pretty good, and it actually, I got addicted to it. I started playing it, and I was like, oh man, I'm doing really well. I don't want to stop playing this game. And yeah, it's actually really entertaining, and I really do think it was worth the, what, $4 I paid for it? They were like $3 a pop. Top Gun and Top Gun Second Mission. I couldn't resist. Come on, man. Cheap NES games, I'm gonna pick them up. Come on. Next up, we have RoboCop. I love the original RoboCop. I loved RoboCop 2. Two movies I probably shouldn't have been watching when I was a kid, but we did it anyways. My sister and I, we quote scenes from that movie to this day. And I wanted to check out the original game on the Nintendo Entertainment System. Part man, part machine, all game. It's like a 2D shooter. Very simplistic. It's got like an 8-bit version of the RoboCop theme, and it's pretty entertaining. I like what I played of it so far, and it looks pretty good. I didn't break the bank with it either. Trust me, I didn't break the bank for any of these. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game. Now the first game I remember us renting. One of my earliest video game memories. Remember, the NES was my very first console. So I had to be maybe 5 or 6 years old when I first had a controller in my hand. And I remember us playing it a little bit, not getting very far in it, and never renting it again. For a reason. I mean, this game is infamous for being ridiculously hard. Now, from what I played so far, returning to it after all these years, it's okay, it's difficult, but it's that old school difficulty, you know what I mean? Like, it's got no passwords or whatever, so you gotta pretty much start from scratch. I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's as bad as everybody made it out to be, but it definitely is tough. Now, its sequel, on the other hand, was kind of like a port of the popular arcade Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game. And this is a really good one, actually, now that I've played it. And I want to play it co-op. I gotta get some wireless NES controllers just to play it with my wife, because it's definitely a much better game than the first one. But it plays similar to Turtles in Time, which was my jam on the Super Nintendo, and a game I still need to get. This one's a bit random. I don't buy Sega Master System games, but I do want to get a Sega Master System at some point, just to get a few games for it, just a few. I saw this like for 12 bucks, complete in its box in pristine shape. Afterburner on the Sega Master System. This thing is complete. I kid you not. Look at that. Complete with its manual, and it even has the fold-out poster. The Sega Master System, I feel, is a console that is very underrated and never got its due in the US, but it was really popular in Europe and in Brazil. And to this day, I believe it's still getting games for some odd reason in Brazil. Before I get to the stack of games, I want to quickly talk about Gimmick here, Special Edition. As you can see, I got the little plushie of Gimmick Yumitaro himself here on my shelf temporarily until I relocate him. But here we have Gimmick Special Edition. I did an unboxing for this collector's edition, and it's doing pretty well on YouTube. It'll be popping up here on the top right hand corner of your screen, most likely. And this game is whooping my ass. Like, I'm serious. This game is tough. It's got that old school difficulty to it, and it's a physics-based platformer on the original Nintendo. This game is tough. I'm serious. It's tough. Thank God for the save states and rewind features that the special edition include. Otherwise, I probably would never get through this game because it is testing my patience. But it's awesome to actually have that piece of history because this is a game that never came out in the US. Check out that unboxing. There's a loose cartridge for Rocket Knight Adventures. This is a game where you play as an opossum. It's a fantastic classic 2D side-scrolling platformer with this little guy, Rocket Knight. Sparkster is his name. And I love the animation for this game. I love the sprite work done here. And this is a classic. Unfortunately, I don't have it complete in its box. But the Sega Genesis is a console I didn't grow up with. I played it once or twice, and that was it. Now that I have it, I want to pick up some of the games that really matter. I paid like $25 for this one, which was a bit more than I wanted to pay. But of course, after I picked it up on a claim sale, Limited Run Games, of course, announced a collection of all 3 games in one set. And I'm like, God damn it. But anyways, I'm probably going to pick that up just so I can get Sparkster and Rocket Knight Adventures 2, or whatever the hell the sequels were called. They were on the Super Nintendo, and unfortunately, those games go for big money these days. Moving forward, the rest of the games I'm going to be talking about are Super Nintendo and some Super Famicom games that I've imported. So let's talk about the first one, and that is Godzilla's Greatest Battles, I believe it's called. Godzilla Kaiju Daikessen in Japan. Never came out in the US. It's a 2D fighter with Godzilla monsters and kaiju, and it is a dream come true. I would have loved this game if it came out back then, because at that time I was just getting into the Trendmasters Godzilla line of toys. I was just becoming a fan of Godzilla. To this day, I'm a Godzilla fan, and this game, the sprite work, the music, the sound effects, the actual roars of the kaiju, everything here is so accurate and awesome. It's like a dream come true going back to it and finally being able to experience this game that we never got in the US, which is a damn shame. Next up, we have another Super Famicom release. This is for Rockman 7 or Mega Man 7. I always like to call him Mega Man because Mega Man sounds a lot better than Rockman. I don't know what the hell they've been thinking. But anyways, Rockman 7 on Super Famicom. Getting the US version of this game is like ridiculous. Next up, in terms of Super Nintendo games, here we have Jurassic Park. Oh man, I think I hate this game. I'm not a big fan of it, but I know it has its fans out there. And remember, I always say one person's hated game is somebody's favorite game, and I always want to keep that in mind on this C's Arcade. So next up, another one of my childhood games that I grew up with, Mortal Kombat. Yes, I owned the Super Nintendo version growing up. And yes, it's censored, but to this day, it's still a classic, and it's one that I like to pop in every now and again just to feel that nostalgic feeling of getting my ass whooped by Goro and Computer, but I will sweep kick my way to victory and take on Shang Tsung and whoop his butt, because the original Mortal Kombat is a classic game, and even the Super Nintendo version, even though it was censored, was one of the ones from my childhood that I remember fondly to this day, and I had to own it once again on the Super Nintendo. Next up, we have Super Mario All-Stars, another one of those classic games that I grew up with on the Super Nintendo. I first experienced Super Mario Bros. 2 and the Lost Levels through this version. And I much prefer the 16-bit versions to the original NES versions, but, you know, that's more of a personal thing since I really did enjoy this one. Hell, Retro Gaming Zone even went in there and changed out the save battery, so I really do appreciate that, Retro Gaming Zone. You gave me a great deal on this one, and I can't thank you enough, because this one is a classic from my childhood that I'm just so happy to own once again and play through, because these games are absolutely legendary. And before I forget, Maximo on the PlayStation 2. Now this is kind of like a spiritual successor to the Ghost and Goblin games, and it's a game that I never got around to actually playing, but I did watch gameplay of it for the longest time. Always wanted to check it out. Now I finally have it physically, and it has a sequel. These games are pretty tough, but they're really fun. I love the graphical art style for these games. The artists who went in there made these games ageless. Like, the graphics to this day still look fantastic, and the gameplay is pretty fun and challenging. If you've never heard of the Maximo games, definitely check them out. This one is Ghost to Glory, and the other one I believe is called The Army of Zen, but I gotta get that one at some point in the future. That one's a little tougher to get because it's around a $30 game. This one was like $20, so Maximo. Next up, the rest of these games I claimed from RJ Plays. This guy was going crazy when it comes to the cartridge games, and he was giving me some banger deals, so I had to claim from him, and I'm glad I did. Tiny Toons Adventures Buster Bust Loose. This game is like a $7 game. I couldn't resist checking out another 2D side-scrolling platformer, and I heard this one's pretty competent too from what I played. It's actually pretty fun and really cute, and I remember Tiny Toons Adventures. I love the cartoon. I remember Water Go Down the Hole. I used to say that all the time, and yeah, Tiny Toons is fantastic. Next up, we have a trilogy of JVC games that I've always wanted to play, and I finally have them all. The Super Star Wars trilogy of games, and they are tough. Let me tell you, these games will whoop you real good, especially the first game, since it didn't have like a password system. But I'm so happy to actually own these physically now, because they are considered classics at this point. Almost done. We're down to the last 3 games in today's episode, and first off, we have this is an odd one because of the way it's shelled and everything. Poppin' Twinbee Rainbow Bell Adventures. Now I know Poppin' Twinbee is a popular Japanese franchise, and it's gotten a few games. The original game I believe is a shoot 'em up, and I definitely want to pick that one up in the future. But this one is more of a 2D side scroller, and it's a platformer. And I saw this go up for claim sale from RJ Plays, and I was like, ooh man, that looks interesting. I want to check that out. And I did, and it's pretty awesome actually. And it even comes in this custom translucent red Super Nintendo shell. It's probably 3D printed, no doubt, but it's so cool that it comes in this. Like, this is really nice. And speaking of classics on the Super Nintendo, I had to get these two because I saw them pop up, but I heard a lot of great things about them, especially from Mongunzu, from flipping the Switch, and that is the Illusion of Gaia and Terranigma. Now, Illusion of Gaia got official release over here in the US. That's great and everything. Now, these games are part of a trilogy of games that are not really connected to each other in like a story sense, but they're all part of the same universe. And the first game is called Star Blazers or Soul Blazers, I believe, and unfortunately that one's really hard to get. The game goes for over $100, so I'm probably gonna have to skip on that one for now. Probably get a homebrew version of it at some point, but here we have an official release of Illusion Gaia and Terranigma, which never got a US release on the Super Nintendo. Once again, this is one of those cartridges that has the original Japanese motherboard in there with another chip attached to it, so it translates it to English. Rather than turn-based, these are more action-based JRPGs, and I'm all about more action-based than turn-based. Turn-based, I like every once in a blue moon, but I really don't have the time for those type of games. So the fact that these have more of an action feel to them, I can probably get through these a lot quicker. And I'm not the biggest JRPG guy. I'd buy them here and there, but I don't necessarily have the time to invest in them. So I picked these up. I couldn't resist, and he gave me a really great deal on the Terranigma in particular. This homebrew version could go for like $40-50. I got it for like $28, so couldn't resist. And thank you once again to RJ Plays for all the amazing cartridge claims, and everybody that I claimed games from or gotten games from in today's episode. Quite a lot here, and yeah, definitely wanted to get this video out of the way so I can finally organize everything into the new shelves that I have to build. And I have to also do my 1,000 subscriber Q&A special with a giveaway. I don't know if that's going to come up before this episode or not, but yeah. Anyways, next month we'll do something a little different for the game pickups of that month. And if you like what you see here in this channel at the C's Arcade, I really do appreciate you for tuning in and sticking to the end. Don't forget to hit the like button, comment down below if you've played any of these games, especially the Illusion of Gaia or Terranigma games, what your thoughts of them are. And remember, I'm Scorpio Caesar from the C's Arcade, and I wish you all a good game and good night.
Super Retro Force.